2. Check chuffy 1 2. This is just a little sound check now. I'm gonna get the sound check done. 2. This is just a little sound check now. I'm gonna get the sound check done. Done the sound check. I'll do the introduction. Hi, you're with Scott. I'm Ganja Kid. I'm Grave Kipper. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear. Broadcasting in mono today. Hi. This is Mental Health Monday. It's Monday. It's always Monday. 8 PM GMT. It's not always Monday, thank chuffing God. But Mondays are a bit of a chuffer of a day, aren't they? The old Mondays. So I thought we'd do Mental Health Monday on a Monday. If you come here and you think, what the hell is he chuffing on about? Because today he's doing Zen Koans. What's a Zen Koan? It's got nothing. It's not going to help me. I'm having a crisis here. You can call the Samaritans in the UK. That's 116 123 43. It's a free phone number. Mental health support and specifically crisis intervention, but mental health support, whatever you're going through. 24 hours a day. 365 116 123 for free is the number. 116 123 for free. The 4 and the 3 are not like me saying 4 and 3. It's 116 123 for free. No money. No money down. No money down. Down. Come here. You can also talk to the Lifeline in America at 988. That's in the US of A. 988. That's the Lifeline number. And it's the same sort of shebang. It's just got an easier to remember number. So that's if you think I'm chuffing on. Because what I'm going to do is Zen Koans. What is Zen Koans? What is this chuffer even chuffing on about? He's here 3 or 4 minutes early with the calm and relaxing music. It's Ganja Kid on YouTube. Getting those subscriber numbers up slowly but surely. If you're watching this, hit me a like, hit me a subscribe. Please, thank you. Thank you, please. Thank you. Thank you, please. What we do on YouTube is we upload all of our Twitch streams. This is a stream archive, this channel. A stream archive. Everything that we stream on Twitch, if you sort by oldest, started out just over a year ago. Well, it started out on that channel uploading. I uploaded. In actual fact, I uploaded Mario Maker levels to this channel over 4 years ago. But I left one of them on there so you could see it just because it's the truth. And then a year ago, I started doing streaming. Bit of Hearthstone, bit of chatting, bit of chuff, and Mental Health Monday. Just over a year ago. More than a year ago now. We've come a long way. All the streams are here. Started out on Twitch mainly, just uploading the streams here. And then we started using YouTube. Oh look, we did an interview with a game developer. We played their entire game. The winner of the Indiecade 2020 Narrative Award. We played the entire game and we put it all on stream. And then we interviewed the developer. That was cool. So it's all here. It's all here. And we started in YouTube streaming, sort by newest. So now we stream on YouTube in the week, 2 PM GMT. Except I didn't do it today. Just, you know, don't have to get used to streaming every chuffing day or having a few days off intermittently. It's one of them. It's one of them. But we stream on YouTube. We've been talking about the Rwanda plan, armed cookery, cooking in prison. We've been talking about Mental Health Monday, the colour of happiness. We've been talking about guns in America, flying our e-simulated aeroplane over London, all sorts of different. We do words on Wednesday. You type words in chat. You play along. Conspiracy theories, YouTube doesn't like them, but we do them. So we have a look at all sorts of stuff. It's all on the YouTube channel. Shilling for myself. It's now officially 8 o'clock, 8 PM GMT. So I will stop shilling for myself. And we'll run what we're doing today, which is Mental Health Monday. I should also say, if you go to channels, there's all these other channels. I started to try and edit our streams, make channels out of them. Fallen a bit on the wayside with the edits. Done a lot more streaming. It's a bit of give and take. Mental Health Monday's got its own channel. And over the year and a bit, we've covered a lot of different topics. We've got a lot of different videos. Hopefully there's something there for people to find and support and avenues to support through that. We're due a new upload. I need to get on my editing. I need to edit an episode. Last week's was a good one for the edit. I've got to edit that and get it up there. So you'll see edited. All this chuff that I'm talking now, that'll go. Cut that out. Get straight to the point. Get straight to the point, mate. That's what the edits are for. And also, like, I do shorter videos edited and some longer videos, like the whole hour, but all the chuff cut out, just the main bits. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And if you want to see the full experience like you're watching now, make sure you're subscribed to Ganji Kid on YouTube, where I upload all of our Twitch streams and we stream on YouTube. So there you go, that's me. So we've done Samaritans, we've done Lifeline, we've done Who I Am. What we're doing today, I mentioned it earlier, didn't I? Zen Koans. Koans? What do you mean Koans? What do you mean Zen Koans?
I want you to shut off the logical part of your mind. Okay. Embrace nothingness. You got it. Become like an uncarved stone. Done. Bart! You're just pretending to know what I'm talking about. True. Well, it's very frustrating. I'll bet. Bart, I have a riddle for you. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Piece of cake. No, Bart. It's a 3,000-year-old riddle with no answer. It's supposed to clear your mind of conscious thought. No answer? Lisa, listen up. Ugh, let's try another one. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, does it make a sound? Absolutely. But Bart, how can sound exist if there's no one there to hear it? Ooh.
And then she hands him, like, this is from an episode where they play golf, so she hands him a putter. The putter's not relevant.
It is time.
The putter's not relevant. When a tree falls to the ground, does it make a sound? Well, back then, we're talking Zen Koans now. Oh, we're talking Zen Koans. Back then, calm and relaxing. Look, there's a reason that they're sat under these trees that look a bit like this. It's a bit like bonsai in the clouds. Remember, we've been playing Genshin Impact on this stream, haven't we? We play Genshin Impact at the weekends on Twitch. Been playing Genshin Impact. And that's a Chinese game. This is ancient Chinese philosophy. Buddhist philosophy. That's why they've got this bit of an image there. It's clever, isn't it? Ancient Chinese Buddhist philosophy. And the concept of a koan, I might be pronouncing it wrong. I've only just been reading about it today. The concept here is they're little stories, or I like the ones that are little Zen. Let's Google it. Zen Koans paradoxes. You know, I like the ones that are little paradoxes. Zen Buddhist Koans exposing the paradox of reality. What? The paradox of reality? Because what the idea is, right? The idea is that there are some things that you can't work out. This is Mental Health Monday. It will make sense in a minute. There are some things you can't work out. You know, you can't get your head around maybe, and it can get you down. It can keep you thinking. Some things you can't make sense of in the world. There are some big things with lots of moving parts. I'm not going to name any particular thing, but I bet you know something big that you worry about or stress about. Something big, and maybe no one's ever got the answer. Maybe no one ever will. That's what these are about. They're carefully designed nonsensical riddles meant to make the student of Zen realise the limitations of logic and reasoning in the most dramatic way. The paradoxical content of these riddles makes it impossible to solve them by thinking. What? But that's the main thing, thinking, isn't it? You sit there and you have a good think and you work it out. That's what we're saying. Maybe it's time to put some of those thoughts down. Maybe it's time to just chill out. Buddhists do a lot of meditation. This is about what's behind the reasons and the whys and the... Alright, then I might have it goes. These thoughts, these ideas, these thought puzzles, they're designed to stop the thought process, make the student ready for the non-verbal experience of reality. That bleeds well into mindfulness, doesn't it? That sits well with mindfulness, taking it in for what it is, being there in the moment. The contemporary Zen master Yasutani introduced a Western student of one of the most famous koans with the following words. So I'll read these words in a minute. First of all, I just want to... Oh, I don't want that. No thanks. First of all, I just want to take you back to this. The sound of one hand clapping. Now, what I'm going to do today is... It's Mental Health Monday. So we're going to be talking through some koans. We're going to be looking at these concepts. I'm not going to go too deep into Buddhism and the history and the... you start digging, you start talking. You could go a long way, couldn't you, with Buddhism and history and the ideas. They've been going on for a long time. They've come to some different ideas. There's all sorts of ideas going on there. There's a lot of interesting ideas. The one I want to focus on is Zen. The idea that... Should have got the definition up, look. Zen. You know, I don't want broadband Zen, thank you. I don't want the metro. Just want a nice, gentle definition. It's a school of Mahayan Buddhism. It's told you, originated in China, told you, during the Tang dynasty. I bet that's a long time ago. 907 AD. And it developed into sub-schools and branches. The term Zen is derived from the Japanese... Alright, I just want to know what it means. Just want to know what it means. Like, why don't we go back one step and just have a definition? Not the Zen restaurant, just Zen definition. Just means like clearing a Japanese school of Buddhism, emphasizing the value of meditation and intuition rather than ritual worship or study of scriptures. Peaceful and calm. That's what I was looking for. Peaceful and calm. It's about just clearing your mind and being at peace. That's what it's about, isn't it? And the reason it came up recently is because in Genshin Impact... He's not bringing it around to Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact. Zen Gardens. Inazuma. We recently went to this place called Inazuma. And there are these gardens that I said, oh, they're like Zen gardens. Do you remember? We were there. And they had stones and... I'm trying to find a good picture of it. The stones. We ran through their stones. You know, we ran through the stones. Why isn't there a good picture of it, you chuffers? I'll get this picture up then. This isn't it though. It's like it. It's like it. Should I put stones? Zen Gardens. Stones. I could open Genshin Impact, but I don't want to because it's Mental Health Monday. I'm not supposed to be playing Genshin Impact. Naughty. Naughty, don't talk Genshin Impact all the time. So they got these places anyway, and they look like Zen Gardens. Because they are chuffing Zen Gardens. And we went in there, and there's some stones, gravel in some of the courtyards with some stones in them. And Zen Garden gravel. This will make more sense. This will make more sense to you. Look. Now you'll see what's going on. Now you'll get what I mean. This will make... You'll be like, oh, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Look. It's just gravel. And as a garden goes... Hello, Snippies. Hello. Hello. Hello, Snippies. We're doing a nice chilled Mental Health Monday. Do you remember we were in the Zen Garden? In I don't know if you remember. In Genshin Impact, we went to this place and they had a... I was like, oh, this is like a Zen garden. And I thought, that's going to be good. Good one for stream. Good one for stream.
Another one. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, does it make a sound? Absolutely. But Bart, how can sound exist if there's no one there to hear it?
You're picking up a doggy from the beauty salon. No worries, no worries. This will be one that hopefully I'll edit and put on the... hopefully we'll get it up on the old the channel. Thank you for all your support recently as well. You know, this is just going to be a nice, calm, relaxing talk through some different ideas about Zen Buddhism. And we're going to look at some funny stories, some little... First of all, I'm giving us the lowdown from the high ground about Zen Buddhism. Then we're going to read some of those tree falling to the ground stories and think about them. And the idea is with the stories that there's no answer to them. So I'll do my best to answer them. And that'll work out well, I think. I think that'll work out well. So we've been there in Genshin Impact. It was inspired by. These are Zen Gardens. They have stones as opposed to plants, which is a bit weak and lousy, isn't it? You're like, where's all the plants? Can't really call it a garden if it's just gravel, can you? It's more of a driveway. But they do. They have plants as well. But what you find is they'll rake around. Look, it's like ripples coming out from that stone, isn't it? They've raked around it. They rake patterns into the stones. And every day you go out and you rake the stones over and then you do a new pattern. It's Zen gardening, it's called. Zen gardening. Zen gardening. Type that in. It spills over into just being chilled in the garden. So you can go a bit further with it if you want. You don't have to just have stones. You can have all sorts. You have little bonsai trees, or like you can have a little mini Zen garden. You can buy this off Etsy. So you can have a little mini like tray with some sand in to play with. It goes all, it goes in all directions. The concept is clear though, isn't it? I think I'm making the concept clear. It's about clearing your mind, maybe just focusing on the task at hand. There's no answer, there's no end, there's no beginning. Just trying to do a really good job on the old rake. Just doing your garden. Do that every day. It's a nice bit of mindfulness meditation. Something they get up to in China. It's come from the Buddhist traditions. I'm not going to try and promote any sort of spirituality here, but that's where it's come from. We're having a look at a different culture, different spirituality today. It's interesting, isn't it? So that's Zen. That's what Zen is. And hopefully you're going to be nice and calm and relaxed if you've been doing that, because it's about the value of the meditation and your intuition rather than study and scriptures. So there you go. We'll read what the Zen fella said. But before we do that, I'm just going to tell you about this, The Simpsons, because the tree falls to the ground. Does it make a sound? Right, the answer is yes, it does make a sound. But you're going to say, no, there's no one there to hear it. Oh, wait. Okay, so it depends on your definition of sound, but you're not going to be able to do that. This is Zen. You're not allowed to get into studies and definitions, really. But really, it just depends on your definition of sound. Because if you mean, sound equals something someone hears, then someone does have to be there to hear it, yeah? It could be a squirrel. If you count, does you count a squirrel as a someone? Now we've got another conversation on the go. But yeah, you do have to have someone there to hear it if that's your But if you're just defining it by does it make the sound? Well, sound is a series of pressure waves, isn't it? Like, what is sound? What is sound, Rodney? Like, I thought there'd just be a nice picture of it. It's like sound, it comes in waves, but it's made by air pressure. It's not really a nice picture of it. That will do, that one. That's probably the most scientific one anyway. The drum skin vibrates and makes the air around it vibrate. The vibrating air spreads away from the source. That's a sound wave. Finally, your ear picks up the sound wave and your brain translates it into sound. So what you hear in your brain is not, you're making it up in your brain, aren't you? You've got little bones and fiddly bits and goes into your brain makes it up. It's quite a clever system, but the vibrating air coming out of the drum, if you're not there, that's still coming out of the drum. End of discussion. So does it make a sound? Yeah. The air pressure still happens. Is that sound? Well, to us it is, so yes. But officially, no, it's just air pressure. Well, then nothing makes a sound. Right, have it your way, nothing makes a sound. But at least we've got to the bottom of it. Hang on, I was only trying to make you think, yeah, but at least we got to the bottom of it.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm going to be doing today, is I'm going to be reading through some Zen Koans. One of the best koans, because it's the simplest, is Mu. This is its background. A monk came to Joshu, a renowned Zen master in China, hundreds of years ago, and asked, has a dog Buddha nature or not? Joshu retorted, Mu. Literally, the expression means no or not. But the significance of Joshu's answer does not lie in this. Mu is the expression of living, functioning, dynamic Buddha nature. What you must do is discover the spirit or essence of this Mu, not through intellectual analysis. This is getting a bit heavy already. I thought it was just little proverbs. Not through intellectual analysis, but by search into your innermost being. Then you must demonstrate before me concretely and vividly that you understand Mu as a living truth, without recourse to conceptions, theories or abstract explanations. It's not to be long. Remember, you can't understand Mu through ordinary cognition. You must grasp it directly with your whole being. It reminds me of when someone tries to teach you a lesson and they write it all on the blackboard and you can't work it out, and then they say, right, here, look, hold the golf club and hit it like that, and you go, oh, I see, and then you got it because you're doing it. You can't say you need to swing your arms at an angle of 30 degrees to the perpendicular of your hips, and no, you just you get it all in one. Do you know what I mean? It feels a bit like one of those sort of things. So has a dog got Buddha nature or not? And the master said Mu, which means Buddha nature. It's an expression of the living, functioning Buddha nature, but it also means no or not. So, to answer his question, I'm a bit confused, to be honest. To a beginner, the Zen Master will normally present this Koan as one of the following two. Okay, so we've got a different way of listening to it now. We've got a different... Hang on, where's my kilobytes? I've only just checked the kilobytes. They better not be up and down like that all the time. If they're up and down like that, I'm going to have to restart the computer. Sometimes they just come back to us. I'm just waiting for the kilobytes now. I really hope they're coming back now. They're coming back, but I really hope they just sort themselves out, those kilobytes, because I can fix it by turning it off and on. But the issue with that is that I've got all these windows all prepared, and I don't know how to restart last session on this new computer. No, they're stalling. The bitrate's been bad for ages. Hang on. I think I'm going to have to restart the computer. It's not improving, is it? It's not improving properly. Oh, it's improving now. The minute I say I'm going to restart the computer, it starts to improve, but unless I get some green lights going on soon, at the moment everything's saying unstable to me still. The arduous life of a streamer. Mental Health Monday, having troubles. Yeah, we're back up now. We're back up to green. One check, 1, 2. It's not improving, is it? It's not improving properly. Oh, it's improving now. The minute I say I'm going to restart the computer, it starts to... I'm going to roll with that. Do you know, I think I've got green kilobytes here. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I'm going to roll with it. I'd rather not start the episode off again, you know, turn it all off and then on again. I'd rather not do that. So I am going to just continue. And it's one of those things. It's not supposed to be a big thing this week, this Mental Health Monday. It's supposed to be a nice, chill little thing. So I'm going to keep the chill vibe. I'm just going to continue. So to a beginner, the Zen Master will normally present this Koan as one of the following two. Yeah, it looks stable again now. The stream does, yeah. What was your original face? The one you had before your parents gave birth to you. You can make the sound of two hands clapping. Now what's the sound of one hand? That's the one we recognise, isn't it? Bart just did it. It's like ASMR, isn't it? For idiots. That's the sound. There is no sound of one hand clapping. It's a two-handed endeavour. Don't know what you want from me. It's a two-handed endeavour, mate. So let me just check the stream. You can make the sound of two hands clapping. Now what's... Yeah, it seems fine. It seems fine now. We're rolling. We're rolling. So I'll fix that one for them. The sound of one hand clapping is like either nothing, because it's a two-handed endeavour, or it's what Bart did. It's that. And then what's your original face? The one you had before your parents gave birth to you. I didn't have a face. Don't know what you're on about. I didn't have a face. All these koans have more or less unique solutions, which a competent master recognises immediately. Once the solution is found, the koan ceases to be paradoxical and becomes a profoundly meaningful statement made from the state of consciousness which it has helped to awaken. So I must be a master. I think I might be a master. Well, what I'm learning already, I mean, I know I haven't done a lot of, like, I didn't meet Daito or the Emperor, good Igo. I haven't done a lot on this, but already, like, you know, I've solved 3 of them for you. Solved the tree in the forest, solved that one, solved the hands clapping, and I've solved that one about the face, so doing quite well. When the Zen Master Daito saw the Emperor Godaigo, who was a student of Zen, the Master said, "We were parted many thousands of kalpas ago, yet we've not been separated even for a moment. We're facing each other all day long, yet we've never met." So, I mean, let's imagine it's me that he said it to. So, he said that to me. "We parted many thousands of kalpas ago, yet we've not been separated even for a moment. We're facing each other all day long, yet we've never met." I'd say, is it hot out? Do you want to come in and have a sit down? Can I get you a drink? See, I'm already well up on this shit. I'm Zen to the top 10 Zen, aren't I? Turn the calm and relaxing music up a little bit, that's how Zen I am. It was just slightly in the background, now it's going to dominate. I'm Zen. Hand me a pen, I'm Zen. Right, so what I like is the little paradox ones, but now what we're going to look at is some of these Zen Koans. This is a proper list, right? Proper list, and it pertains to ninjutsu. So if you want to learn about how it pertains to ninjutsu, to the ninja, the mind is the ultimate weapon. Development of the mind can be achieved only when the body has been disciplined. To accompany this, the ancients have taught us to imitate the 5 elements and the 8 mystic trigrams. From these comes the physical exercises and techniques we practice in Black Dragon School. Thus the art is crafted and the body is trained. And then to develop the mental skills necessary, you need to utilize special powers and abilities. The ninja practice codes and ciphers, and they think about these koans, and then that gives them access to the incredible world of possibilities. It says it on the internet, so should I go for the first one? We'll go for the first one and see what that's like. A cup of tea. This is called a cup of tea. So I've got a cup of tea right here. Hang on, why can't I move the chopper? Zen Koan. Right, a cup of tea. Nanin, a Japanese master during the Meiji era, 1816 to 1912. I don't think it matters, does it? Because it's about little proverbs. It doesn't matter when... See, I'm so Zen, I know which bit we need to edit off. Nanin, a Japanese master, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nanin served tea. He poured his visitor's cup full and then kept on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. "It's over full. No more will go in." "Like this cup," Nanin said, "you're full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" So, got a bit of a problem with this one, you see, because iced tea, please. There you go. Iced tea with lemon. I've got English breakfast tea, you'd call it, wouldn't you, in America? With a single sugar and soya milk. In England, we just call it tea. Don't have all the other kinds. You'd be surprised. You'd think England's got all the different kinds. We do have them in the shops. Some people drink them, but if you say I want a cup of tea and they bring you anything other than breakfast tea, British, classic, breakfast tea, sugar milk, soya milk, if they bring you anything other than that, you're cross. You know, what's this? I didn't say green tea. I didn't say fucking iced tea. I said tea. If you have the builders round, you have to make them all a cup of tea. Right, so Nanin made this cup of tea and he said, "Look, how can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? Like this cup, you're full of your own opinions and speculations, you." That wasn't very nice, was it? Considering Nanin was the one pouring the tea. So I'd take the cup and I'd throw it at Nanin like that, and all the tea would go on him. And I'd go, "Oh," and I'd say, "Like this cup, right? I come in here empty, ready to receive knowledge, and you filled it and overfilled it with all your attitude. And now, like this cup, it's gone all backfired in your face, hasn't it? So just pour me a normal cup of tea and let's talk Zen. See, I'm the Zen Master. Nanning in his cup of tea, that's rubbish. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? Well, the cup was empty. You come in with an empty cup. In fact, it was Nanning served the tea. He served his own. You know, he brought out the cups. That was your cup, you fucker. Didn't teach me anything about tea. Wasted tea, that was. Right, obedience. This is number 4. The Master's Bankai talks were attended not only by Zen students, but by persons of all ranks and sects. He never quoted sutras, not indulged in scholastic dissertations, because that's not Zen. Instead, his words were spoken directly from his heart to the hearts of listeners. His large audience angered a priest. Your cup overflows with opinions. Well, tip it out. That's what we learned from the last one. Tip it out. Throw it in someone's face, probably, is a good way to tip it out. A good way to empty a cup is to throw it in someone's face. It's probably the opposite of Zen, isn't it? But, you know, come on. Come on, I'm a master. I'm self-proclaimed Koan master. His large audience angered a priest. I mean, that's not very priestly anyway, is it? To be angry and getting all angry, getting all eggy. Because of the adherents had left to hear about Zen. He didn't like it because they were going to listen to this Zen. The priest was angry. So he'd come to the temple, he'd really got a cob on. Hey Zen teacher, he shouted, which isn't appropriate. Wait a minute. Whoever respects you will obey what you say. But a man like myself does not respect you. Can you make me obey you? Well, already what I'm noticing about these Zen things is there's a lot of angry, eggy people going on, isn't there? In that first one, there was all tea going around. I didn't even make that up. They poured the tea all over the table in the first one. Fucking dickhead. What are you doing with my tea? If someone did that, you would be cross, wouldn't you? Stop filling it. It's going everywhere. Oh, it's a little Zen lesson. It's a fucking Zen lesson. Chuffing. Dump it in the garden. In the Zen garden. Over like that. It'll make a nice noise on the gravel. Come up beside me and I'll show you, said the Zen chuffer. Proudly, the priest pushed his way through the crowd to the teacher. Banksy smiled. His name's Banky, but Banksy's more popular these days. Come over to my left side. The priest obeyed. I can see what's happening here already. I don't have to read anymore, look. He come up all angry and he was like, why do people do what you say? If they only do it because they respect you, but I don't respect you, so I'm not going to do what you say. And already, Banky's got him doing what he says. Come over here. No, over here. And then he goes over there and he's like, oh, I got you. You did what I say. Now fuck off back to your church, you angry bugger. Proudly, he pushed his way through. Come over to my left side. The priest obeyed. No, said Banky. We may talk better if you're on the right side. Step over here. The priest stepped over to the right. You see, said Banky, you're obeying me. And I think you're a very gentle person. Now sit down and listen. He tricked him. So he tricked him. Very Zen, isn't it? Very Zen. He tricked him. Stupid priest. Right, this one's called Announcement. Tanzan wrote 60 postcards on the day of his life, on the last day of his life. He asked his attendant to mail them. He passed away. The cards read, I'm departing from this world. This is my last announcement. Tanzan. Fucking nothing. There's nothing in that. Number 2, I've just realised that instead of... This is Zen, isn't it? Instead of writing them down 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, all downwards like that, like you'd expect in a list, they've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've gone crossways like that. So I've got out of order. Oh, God. This one can't be very Zen. It's way too wordy. It's way too wordy. Listen, I'm the Zen Master. I'm the Zen Master. You missed that. I don't know which bit you missed. The bit rate's up again though, so it's not my kilobytes anymore. I'm the Zen Master, master of disaster. Step into the rave and flow faster, boiling hot and twist like pasta. We've heard that one before. Look, Gudo was the emperor's teacher. Nevertheless, he travelled alone as a wandering mendicant. Once when he was on his way to Edo, the cultural and political centre of the shogunate, he approached a little village named Tanika. It was evening and a heavy rain was falling. Gudo was thoroughly wet. His straw sandals were in pieces. At a farmhouse near the village, straw sandals were in pieces. Well, that's your problem there. There's your problem there. Very Zen. You don't want straw sandals. Wise man built his house on the rocks. Get yourself a nice pair of marching boots. If you're going to be doing a lot of walking, get yourself a nice pair of walking boots. Straw sandals. At the farmhouse near the village, you notice 4 or 5 pairs of sandals in the windows and decided to buy some dry ones. That's a mistake again, because they're only going to get wet the second time round. The woman who offered him the sandals, seeing how wet he was, invited him in to remain the night in her home. That's saucy of her. Gudo accepted, thanking her. He entered and recited a sutra before the family shrine. He was then introduced to the woman's mother and to her children. Observing that the entire family was depressed, Gudo asked what was wrong. My husband is a gambler and drunkard. Oh, bloody hell, he's not going to enjoy it when he comes home and he sees another man in the house, is he? He's not going to think that's very clever. His housewife told him, when he happens to win, he drinks and becomes abusive. When he loses, he borrows money from others. Sometimes when he becomes thoroughly drunk, he doesn't come home at all. What can I do? I'll help him, said Gudo. Here's some money, get me a gallon of fine wine and something good to eat. Then you may retire. I will meditate before the shrine. I mean, he's paying for it, here's the money, but he's only getting the good fortune of having someone offer him somewhere to stay, and now he's ordering them around and treating them like servants. Is that what Zen is? Very Zen. When the man of the house returned about midnight, quite drunk, he bellowed, "Hey wife, I'm home. Have you got something for me to eat?" "I've got something for you," said Gudo. "I happen to be caught in the rain, and your wife kindly asked me to remain here for the night." I mean, that's going to kick off, isn't it? It's going to kick off. That's not Zen. Starting fights, starting arguments. "In return, I've bought some wine and fish, so you might as well have them." The man was delighted. Was he? Was he? Is this helping you be able to Zen? This is official, this is. It's Koans, official. I'm the official master. I'm the Zen master. I promise. I'll work it all out, don't worry. He drank the wine at once and laid himself down on the floor. Gudo sat in meditation beside him. In the morning, when the husband had awoke, he'd forgotten about the previous night. "Who are you? Where did you come from?" he asked Gudo, who was still meditating. "I'm Gudo of Kyoto, and I'm going to Edo," replied the Zen master. That's not a good answer. It'd be funnier to be like, "No, who are you? What are you doing here?" Where's Shirley? Do you know what I mean? It'd be funnier to say something like that. Like, what? You got him all confused. "Where's my fish? Did you eat my fish, you bugger? I had some fish last night. I left it here." The man was utterly ashamed. He apologised profusely to the teacher of his emperor. Gudo smiled. "Everything in life is impermanent," he explained. "Life is very brief. If you keep on gambling and drinking, you'll have no time left to accomplish anything else, and you will cause your family to suffer too." The perception of the husband awoke as if from a dream. "You're right," he declared. "How can I ever repay you for this wonderful teaching? Let me see you off and carry your things a little way." I mean, if it was that easy... Very Zen though, isn't it? Very Zen. He just said to him, "Look, life's short. Don't waste it." The husband was like, "Right, fair play." They went out. After they got 3 miles, Gudo told him to return. "Just another 5 miles, he begged Gudo. They carried on. "You can go home now," said Gudo. "Just another 10 miles, the man replied, which seems a bit weird. "Return now," said Gudo when the 10 miles had passed. "I'm going to follow you all the rest of my life," declared the man. Modern Zen teachings in Japan spring from the lineage of a famous master who was the successor of Gudo. His name was Munan, the man who never turned back. So I'm starting to think this is a load of rubbish then, because that fellow was an idiot, wasn't he? Modern Zen teachings in Japan spring from the lineage of a famous master who was the successor of Gudo. His name was Munen, the man who never turned back. I mean, in a way, he did right, because he said, look, if you spend all your time drinking and gambling, you won't accomplish anything. So he said, oh, well, you're right, I want to accomplish something. And what he wanted to accomplish was being a great Zen master, so he just fucked off from his family and walked off. But that's not a good thing. He was persistent, but it's not a good thing. It says it there at the bottom. Modern Zen teachings. Gudo, the man who never turned back. And in a way, you know, it's good to never look back, isn't it? You get on with what you're doing, you move forward. I don't know what all this bullshit about food and wine and gambling was about. You know, I don't know what this looked like there was a big proverb coming up. And then in the end, he just said to him, stop drinking. And he was like, fair enough. And then he just followed him. So, could have stayed and taught Zen to his family. Yeah, exactly. He could have raised 3, you know, super Zen kids, and they could have been the founders of Zen in Japan. And they could have been called the family who never went away. Like, that was an awful story. So, number 3. The Zen Master Haiku was praised by his neighbours as one living a pure life. A beautiful maybe it's because these are Japanese. I said it was all Chinese, didn't I? And this one is more focused on the Japanese ones. Maybe the Japanese have got it twisted along the way. I don't know. The Zen Master Haiku was praised by his neighbours as one living a pure life. A beautiful Japanese girl. It's important to ask why you drink. Yeah, that's a much more. That's a more Zen question, isn't it? Why are you drinking? And when does it stop? Where does it end? Is it going to solve anything? Is there an end game to it? It's better to ask these questions the day after as well, when people are feeling well rubbish. The Zen Master Haiku. See, that's Zen of me. That was Zen of me. You know, there's no point asking a drunk man why he's drinking. It's better to ask a hungover person if he ever wants to start that up again. There's a good, you see? Yeah. See, Scotty Hottie Zen. A beautiful Japanese girl whose parents owned a food store lived near the Zen master. Suddenly, without warning, her parents discovered she was with child. This made her parents angry. She would not confess who the man was, but after much harassment at last named the Zen master. So this doesn't sound right. He's been bonking off the beautiful girl. It doesn't say how old she is. I hope she's old. You know, there's nothing dodgy going on with this haiku. In great anger, the parent went to the master. Is that so? Is all he would say. Is that so? I mean, he's not accepting responsibility, so maybe he didn't do it. Maybe she's blagging. Like, it's all a bit up in the air. After the child was born, it was brought to Haiku. By this time, he'd lost his reputation, because everyone thought he was bonking off this girl. So he'd lost his reputation. That didn't bother him, but he took very good care of the child. He obtained milk from his neighbours and everything else he needed, which is a bit weird, because, you know, he's had the child off its mum now, and now he's got the child. A year later, the girl mother could stand it no longer. Girl mother, so she was young. It's a bit awkward, this whole one. She could stand it no longer. She told her parents the truth. The real father of the child was a young man who worked in the fish market, old Fishy Fingers, worked in the fish market, old Fish Fingers, and she didn't want to be called Old Fishminge, so she was scared, and in the end she said it was Haiku. And Haiku didn't deny it. I'd have said, like, Zen mastery here, so not on your chuffing Nelly. That's the Zen thing to do, not on your chuffing Nelly, mate. No, I didn't. But if you need me to look after your kid, Zen boarding school is open. Zen mastery boarding school is open. I'm a really nice chuffer. You know, I help you with your problems, but definitely didn't bonk the. Do you know what I mean? A year later, she told them the truth. It was Fishy from the fish market. And just because you work in a fish market doesn't make you fishy. I'm just being funny there. I hope anyone who works with fish realises that I'm making jokes at their expense because they murder animals for a job. So and work. They deal in dead animals, so I don't really. I'm not down with that. So it's okay for me to tease them from time to time. But it's a very hard job being a fisherman, fisherwoman, fishing person, non-binary fisher. Didn't you work cleaning fish? That fisher? Yeah, exactly. I did work cleaning fish, and I had fishy fingers back then. So we've all been there. The mother and the father of the girl at once went to Haiku to ask forgiveness, to apologise at length, and to get the child back. They want the child back now. Now they want the child back. Cheeky. Haiku was willing. In yielding the child, all he said was, "Is that so?" Which is interesting, isn't it? It's a bit like triumph and disaster. Treat those two imposters both the same. He didn't say, you know, "You chuffers" at the end of it. He didn't give them a piece of his mind. I'm sure his reputation was repaired. He said, "Is that so?" So I can get this, I can dig this. The Zen story here is basically telling us, look, when people are angry and yelling and all that, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, is that so? Okay? Whatever. If that's how you feel. If that's how you feel. But at the same time, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if that's how you feel. And the big circle of it all was like, you know, zero-sum game really, wasn't it? So he just gave the baby back. I mean, it's alright. The baby won't really remember what was going on, and now it's living with its mom and old fishy fingers in a little hut next to the fish market, so everyone's happy. That was episode 3. We did 4 already. This is number 5. If you love openly. 20 monks and 1 nun. Hello, hang on. No wonder they said that. 20 monks and 1 nun. 20 monks and 1 nun. No wonder they said if you love openly. You know, if you have one partner and just settle down. No, because there's going to be 19 monks all missing out, and 1 happy nun and 1 happy monk. So if you love openly, 20 monks and 1 nun. I hope this ain't going to get me banned off Twitch. I hope this ain't going to be one of those funny videos. Well, it's not a video, is it? It's just all words, so can't be that rude. How rude can they make words? 20 monks and 1 nun. 1 nun who was named Eshun were practicing meditation with a certain Zen master. So now it's 20 monks, 1 nun, and a Zen master. Separate from the monks, separate from the nun. I'm a Zen master. Renegade master, D4 damager. Power to the people. Back once again for the renegade. I'm a... Why do they keep taking my things out of this room, the choppers? They keep taking my things out of this room. Hang on. I'm a naughty chopper. I'm a naughty chopper. We're gonna get this 2 nuns 1 cup story going in a minute. Hang on. Gonna get this 20 monks and 1 nun story in a minute. But not supposed to be smoking, but I'm being naughty. Little bit of news. Don't know if it's like big news or, you know, shouldn't do this in the middle of the episode, should do it at the start, but a little bit of news, which is that Mom's boyfriend is going to be moving in. He's sold his house. He's going to be moving in here while he sorts things out, maybe gets another house or whatever. That's going to be interesting. There's lots of different people lived here in the past. It was a student house. Before I moved in. When I moved in, my sister was living here with her boyfriend. There were 2 other people here that weren't, like, they were students. I was a student. I'd just finished university, just fucked up being a student, and I came to live here. Like, other people moved in and moved out and moved in and moved out. One night, someone climbed in my bedroom window, and I was waiting there with a weapon because I heard them climbing in my bedroom window. And it was just one of the lads that lived there, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot my keys." And I was like, "You're so lucky I didn't kill you." Because I was waiting there with my weapon, and I realised who it was when he poked his head through the window. But I was waiting there with my weapon. So lots of different people have lived here in the past. There's enough rooms. It's not going to be an issue. It's going to be quite fun having, you know, Lee living here for a bit. So that's going to happen in the future. One of the things that there's an upstairs, like lofty sort of bedroomy, lofty. Like it's not the nicest room in the house at the moment. I've got all my boxes and crap up there, and I go up there to smoke out the window in the evenings like on an old, I've got this old chair. It's like an old, you know those old chairs that you've got and you don't want to throw them out. Like it's got all the bits peeling off it. It's got all the bits peeling off it. It's all wrecked. So I'm neutral. I'd say neutral. I'm neutral. What happens usually is that Mom goes to see Lee at his house at the weekends, so that's going to stop. So I'm going to have slightly less free on my own time, my whole house for the weekend. But that's just going to happen. But what I will try and do is try and move ourselves up into that upstairs room in some way. I'll probably leave this as it is, but I'll try and set up a second streaming space upstairs. At the moment, it's just not possible because I don't know if the internet works all the way up there, and there's like too much crap to even set up a computer. There's no space for it, but I'm going to have to move some stuff around, throw some stuff out, put some other stuff somewhere else, and like move some. Like it will. I tell you what, it is quite hot up there. It does get hot up there. It gets really hot up there. In the summer, it does get quite hot up there. Like it like warms up. I suppose it's all the insulation in the loft, isn't it? Whatever, you know, but it's not too bad. It's a room. It's got windows. But yeah. Anyway, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm going to have to do a bit of fucking around, and I might use a green screen up there so you don't just see all the rubbish. But I can do a portable air conditioner. So the thing is, England, it's not worth doing that for like 3 months of the year. It's not like you just put up with it being hot and you have a fan. But yeah, and it won't be permanent. It'll be like my second backup room, second stream room. But that's going to happen I have to do some fucking about. In the same way as I've had to set up this room and it's taken time, I've still got that second setup just there. My old Mac computer, it's all set up just next to me, and I use it for editing and making thumbnails at the moment. I'm quite happy using this new computer for everything, trying to move it over, so I can take that second setup, you know, the old setup that we used to use, the janky setup, the scuffed setup. I could take it upstairs, can't I? And I could set it up there, get one of those internet booster signal things that you get, whatever it is, and get a second. You know, if I need to go and quietly edit or talk quietly or get a bit of space, I can go up there. So, and it will mean that I can smoke as well. So that I'm not supposed to be smoking. But I can smoke in that upstairs room because I can just open all the windows and it's just like, you know, it goes out. The airflow of the house goes that way and out rather than down and in. So yeah, that's interesting bit of breaking news. Interesting bit of breaking news. It's going to be happening just sort of gently. Try and get that set up. And of course, I'm playing a lot of games on this computer now, aren't I? So I could put the PlayStation up there as well, you know. But at the moment, there is not even like I said. If I took something up there, I'd have to put it on boxes and crap and new. It's not. I tell you what, it's not ideal for a studio because of the room. In terms of studio, it's all right for sitting and working on a computer, but in terms of like sound, the windows sort of like we're on a hill, and the windows. It's just the nature of the way the landscape is. You'd think it would be one of the quieter rooms of the house, but all the noise from the outside sort of comes in from that direction, and creaky. It's got creaky floorboards and shit like that. Like, you can do an ASMR video and you can just gently move in your chair and the whole thing's just like creaky. And then you can hear birds scraffling. I don't mind birds scraffling, but it's just, I've tried using it as a sound recording location and it just don't work. So there you go. And then there's also, because it's so hot up there, like you want to have the windows open and you've got all that sound from outside, so you have a fan on. You can't have a fan on while you're recording ASMR. So walking around town IRL streaming. Walking around town IRL streaming is a little leap too far at the moment because my mobile phone technology is just like, I don't have the internet on my phone for more. I've got the minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like the package I've got enough minutes to watch like a couple of YouTube videos or something, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you're running out of minutes this month. So do you want to watch that or do you want to just shut up? So I save the minutes for using it for navigation when I'm out, so I don't get lost. And the phone itself won't stay on for more than it's an old iPhone. An iPhone have done something to make it battery last about 10 minutes. So I'd have to get a more, that's a bigger like that's not just buying a new handset, is it? That's like getting a new contract as well and saying, oh, I want to use the internet now when I'm out wandering about, because I never want that before. I've been like, don't bother that, give me the cheap contract, don't worry about the internet. I've got the internet on I'm not going to pay for the internet at home and then use my phone to search the internet, am I? Like, well, why don't I just why to do that? Like, and when I'm out and about, if I really need to Google something, I've probably got like, certain amount of, they give you a plan, don't they? Like you're saying, I've got some on it, but because you can't have a plan with none on it. How do we get you an unlimited plan? That's longer term future. That's not like, let's build this media product up to a point where we can afford me a nice mobile phone. Because that's not a business. Like every other thing that I do on my phone is not business, is it? Like my phone is not a business expense. So I don't expect you to pay my phone bill. Although I do hope to raise enough money through, like I said, if we can get a sponsor and I'm pulling in like a wage that I can say to myself, like, I can spend that on a phone. Do you know what I mean? It's like that, isn't it? The attic streaming gets too much. It might be. Yeah, it might be. I think just the attic thing would be a good additional, little space that we can use sometimes. I might be able to think of something interesting and different to do up there, And yeah, for Zen, I'll tell you what, it might be that. I was going to use it for. I did use it sometimes in the past for painting or drawing. Got a little desk up there, so there's already a desk up there. But yeah, no, we'll figure something out. And IRL streaming, like I said, it'll be a longer term. Like if I have a plan for it in the longer term, we could do that. What I can do instead of streaming is I can take a camera out and record and talk to people and edit, and then we can watch it on stream. That's always possible. And this room is going to stay this room. Like, it's just that sometimes it might be more people coming and going or things happening, and I just might want to go upstairs. So now I've got to empty out the boxes and sort some shit out. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm always welcoming all California. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it'd be. I have thought recently about what it'd be like to move around the world, but I think family ties and bits and pieces might keep me here for the foreseeable. Let's see the people coming out. That could be an option. Yeah, this is all set up. The only thing that I haven't bought is a second camera, and I've got this, like we talked about it on stream before, I've got this anxiety about it because it's quite an expensive item, and I don't know if I should buy. Like at the moment, I use an A7S II. I'll talk about it now quickly as well, just quickly for you, because it's boring. A7S II. I've got an A7S. Sorry, I've got an A7S. An A7S now comes in different. It now comes in A7S III. Right, A7S III is the most up-to-date one, and that's like $4,000. Now I don't need. If I'm spending $4,000, I don't necessarily want to spend it on one of these, because I could buy maybe a bigger camera, maybe a better camera, maybe spend like a bit more. Let me just quickly show you this, which would be what is it? A Sony. I just put Cinecam and it will show me the FX. That's what it is. Sony FX. Like for Sony FX6. So for just a little bit more money, for like $6,000, you're now talking professional grade cine camera, like 4K, no problem. Do you know what I mean? You're talking a proper camera. Like that's the next step up from what I use. So if I'm going to take a step and spend a bit of money, that's what I should be spending it on. Me and Nigel did a stream where we looked at lots of different there are lots of different varieties and breeds and price ranges of camera. So maybe I don't need to spend that money. The camera I use at the moment isn't even an A7S III. It's just an A7S. And the A7S... The reason I'd want to stay with the same brand is that I've got lenses and they fit on it, so I'd rather keep the same camera, the same brand. I'd rather not switch to Blackmagic or Canon or something else. I'd rather just stick with Sony. An A7S second-hand, used, because they don't make them new now, that's only 560 quid. And it comes with a guarantee. It's used, but it's clean, it's neat, it comes with a guarantee. Do you know what I mean? So I could actually afford that a lot easier. It means I'm not making a step up. It means when I'm spending money on a new camera, I feel like, whoa, what am I doing spending money on the same camera that I've already got? I've already got one. So why would I Do you know what I mean? That seems silly, doesn't it? And its 4K capability is slightly limited. You have to export through an HDMI cable, and you don't get all the settings that you're used to. It just exports it raw. So there are better cameras like that do a better 4K job. I could buy a better camera like we just saw. There's everything from this to that cinema camera. There's everything from that. So you could do a Sony, I'll just put, no, not just Sony, Sony Sony camera body. I want one that I can change the lenses with the camera body, but they do these others like look, A6-600. This might not be as good 4K wise, but it's only $1,000 and it's brand new and it's smaller and it's different. And you know what I would really like is to have the images match so that they look the same, because I'm lighting the room. I don't want the lighting to look different on the two different cameras because they've got slightly different camera settings or what have you. So two the same would actually be good, wouldn't it? So maybe I'm looking for that. Are these pre-owned of the last camera we saw? This is a pre-owned of what I've got at the moment. Everything else we've looked at is a brand new version of what you can get. Yeah, exactly. So much to consider. But I'm thinking maybe I'll just buy this second-hand one because the cheap price compared to the thousands of pounds is quite cheap. But then you're saying £700, and for like a bit more, that's 6,000. So that's like top end. But you know, for a bit more, if I did Sony A7S II, for example, I can upgrade slightly, spend £1,000. That's a slight upgrade to what I've got, but it is second hand. But spend £1,000. You know what I'm saying? So there's all this range. So I'm really worried to pull the trigger to make the wrong decision, to make a because this camera particularly looks actually scuffed at the bottom there. That looks like it's been damaged. So I'm a bit worried to make the wrong decision on that. But theoretically, second camera is bought and it sits right there where my hand is, and it looks right there, and then anyone can sit there and do what they want. I reorganise where the computer is a little bit. They can see the screens. I buy another screen. They can see the screens. We can plug more than one screen in. They can see, you know, it becomes that little studio space for doing that, doesn't it? So, and thanks to you, you know, particularly, I have got the money. I could go and buy that tomorrow, and just start doing it. Start having it on, and then if you want to improve the camera in a year, you buy if you want to buy a $6,000 camera next year, if you want to go out, you know, then you can start stepping up next year if you want to, can't you? So I can always get one and work towards the other. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking is probably the best idea. Instead of mithering and pithering and, you know, worrying about it, the Zen approach would be to say, like, you know, the best camera you have is the one in your hand. That's the Zen approach. The best camera you have is the one in your hand. And if one's within reach and the other one seems, you know, more out of reach, you know, not overreach, there's no point in doing that. Might just get that. All my lenses will work. I know all the settings. I've got one working right now that you're watching me through. So it would just be like, bang, set it up, get it going. We're in. It would also need one of those £100 battery things. So you've got to stick £100 on that. And I'd probably want to buy an identical lens to the one that you look, two identical lenses so that they're the same. Or maybe a different lens. Doesn't have to be the same, does it? Just want to use one of the ones I've got. But see, you start spending more money on it already, don't you? That's just the camera back. So, you know, start spending more money. But yeah, that's something that's going to happen soon. And that for me is a good enough step than worrying too much about going out and using the phone and like outside broadcast. Here's another factor. Let's say you're out in the world and someone runs up to you and says, "What are you doing?" You say, I'm streaming on Twitch, and they start shouting the N-word. Or, you know, you just pan this way and someone's like doing something particularly rude in the street and you think, oh shit, I've shown that on camera, pan back. You know, there are a few worries about controlling my media product if I'm just out there on the phone live. And worries and anxieties are not really what I'm trying to add to me. So, yeah, the Zen Buddhists would say the best camera is the one you've got. Make sure you talk to someone if you're feeling down, and keep calm, relaxed. You'll do better at golf or something. That was what The Simpsons was about, but, you know, calm and relaxing. We got it going on. If you love openly, 20 monks and 1 nun. Unless you didn't do it live. Yeah, it'd be great running out of there. I tell you what, there's 2 problems. I feel really... There's another problem. I'll just talk about it openly. I'd go other places, yeah. I'd do travel and I'd talk to people on, out in the world. I'd do that. Running around my own personal town, I feel is a bit difficult as well because I have spent all of my life growing up here. So some people think things about me, like positive and negative. And there's a lot of people. Like, I could run into a restaurant and know half the people that are working there and say hello to the chef, but that's because I've lived here all my life. Like, it'd be different if I didn't live here all my life. And also, having lived here all my life, and remember I used to have a business in town. I cut people's hair, so like some people would know me. Like there are certain, like if I ran into someone in town, the first conversation, if they knew me, would be, "Oh, what happened to your hairdressing shop?" And our live feed would be me explaining that over and over again. Do you know what I mean? It'd just be like weird for me. So I'd rather not do it in my own town. But and yeah, YouTube videos not live. I could do a bit more of that. Yeah, I certainly could. Going out with the camera, going to nice places, making a few more YouTube videos, and then looking at them together on the old internet. Little trips out with Marlo, stuff like that. Yeah, I need to be doing a bit more of that really. At the moment, I'm getting used to working hard on the new computer and getting a routine in with the stream and stuff like that. But I haven't thought about taking a holiday or a break or those sort of things yet this year, and that's good mental health, isn't it? Planning those things, planning them in is good for your mental health, even if you even if you don't know exactly where you want to go in like 9 weeks, 10 weeks or whatever. Like giving it yourself in the calendar, 10 weeks away, you're going to have 2 days off there and do something for myself, and then giving yourself some time to think about it and plan it out. That's good mental health. That's good for you. Top tip. Scott's top tips. I'll tell you something else as well that Nigel suggested that was really cool. This is the black magic. I'm destroying today's Zen episode. Black magic. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'll pull it around though. Black magic Cinecam, and I'll tell you about why cameras are Zen in just a minute. They make this. Oh, they make a pocket cinema cameras. Oh, Blackmagic are branching out, right? And they make this. This is the one. This will blow your mind, right? This is not designed for, like, telly studios necessarily. Look, it's 1,300. So it's about the same price as those other cameras that I was looking at. But what it is it's got a big monitor already built in on the back. And from the front, you put a lens on that, just there. Put a lens on it, and from the front, it's got one of those lights on the front that, like, we're rolling, and you can move it around with the handles and be looking in the screen on the back. If you had a camera operator and a nice lens on that, that's basically looking like it's looking like a studio camera, and you get a couple of those on a couple of dollies or tripods, and suddenly your little room looks more like a camera studio. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a cinema camera. This is exactly the way they've marketed it. It's like a streamer age cinema camera for doing your own home studio. She's got it on a tripod with fluid head movement there, so it'll move around nice. Put a nice lens on the front. Suddenly you've got a cinema camera, and because it's got that big monitor built on the back, like, it's more designed for someone to actually operate. Like, if you had 2 or 3 people operate, if I had, a slightly bigger budget and we were trying to, they've got cheerleaders in the background or something, but, I'm not saying we're going to make a TV show in my room, but, you could, slightly bigger budget, you could hire somewhere out, you get a couple of these cameras, 2 people operating them, moving them, editing between them on an A10 machine, somebody else. You can start building up your, like, little TV crew, like, but super professionally. And what's great about this camera is it's got all this HDMI out. Like, it's got all the plugs that you expect. It's got a microphone plug, and it's got the monitor built in. When you start buying cinema cameras and, the Sony thing that I showed you for $6,000, that you have to buy a monitor for it, of course, and you have to, buy lenses and all this other stuff. Most of it's built in here. It's quite a clever little idea. The only negative is it uses APS-C crop sensor technology. So the actual sensor, like the actual bottom line of the image and what the image quality and crispness, and you know, if you're super geeky about your bit rate and all that, you can get a better sensor, a bigger sensor, and you get those bigger, better sensors for the same price on a Sony cam. But you don't get all this other stuff built on the back, do you? So it's a bit of a mid-range thing. It's a really interesting thing, and I think a couple of those, like, set up, guests would, like, people coming in would think, oh, you're really professional. Wouldn't they? Really professional. They'd be like, oh, you're super professional, you. But I wouldn't be able to stand behind it and look in it and do it, so better off just with the way we've got now and editing between it on OBS. That's what I'm better off doing with my little home setup. It's interesting, isn't it? Nigel suggested that to me. It was a really good suggestion. It was a really interesting thing that, like, in my wildest dreams now, I think rather than spending loads of money, like, you could actually set up your own little home studio. Talking home studio, like slightly bigger room, or, you know, rent out a room for the weekend, put up a few things in the background, green screen technology, get your little studio on the go, do your little broadcasting, make your little, you know, professional product. It's really good. Back to the Zen Buddhism. So the best camera you have is the one in your hand. That's the Zen Buddhist thing. And I started all this journey out on a photographic camera that my dad bought me for my birthday, and it took reasonable, it was a Nikon, and it took reasonably good photos, and it had a little video menu mode, and I recorded some video on it, and that's how I got started with it all. Yeah, well, actually I got started with it all in college when I did media, but that's a different story. Right, this is a different story as well. If you love, love openly. 20 monks and one nun who was named Eshen were practicing meditation with the master. Eshen was very pretty, even though her head was shaved and her dress was plain. Several monks secretly fell in love with her. One of them wrote her a love letter, insisting upon a private meeting. Now, this is getting a bit saucy. Eshen did not reply because it's like sexual harassment in the workplace. The following day, the master gave a lecture to the whole group, and when it was over, Eshen arose. Addressing the one who'd written to her, she knew who it was. She said, "If you really love me so much, come and embrace me now." So that's a bit weird, because I don't know what happened after. It doesn't say what happened after. I think we're supposed to assume that they were too ashamed or too embarrassed or whatever. You know, it was about secretly falling in love and writing a love letter in a private meeting. You know? And then she was there in front of the group being like, right, you know, if you really love me now, come and give me a hug. I don't know if they did or not. Maybe they did. Maybe they jumped right up and gave her a big hug and everyone lived happily ever after, and they decided to not be Buddhists and grew their hair out. I don't know. If you really love me now, chuff off them a nun. That's another way she could have said it, yeah. And it's really weird because these are monks and nuns, but they're Buddhist nuns, so they're not nuns in the way we think of it. She shaved her head. So that was the moral of that story. You know, and there's no... What I'm finding here is, though, there's no paradoxes, so I'm just going to skip to the middle. I'm going to skip to the middle and see if we've got a... This one's called the Stingy Artist, so we'll look at this. We'll see if this one gives us any pause for thought. Geshen was an artist monk. Before he'd started drawing or painting, he always insisted on being paid in advance. His fees were high. He was known as the Stingy Artist. A geisha once gave him a commission for a painting. "How much can you pay?" inquired Geshen. "Whatever you charge," replied the girl, "but I want you to do the work in front of me." So on a certain day, Geshen was called by the geisha. She was holding a feast for her patron. Geshen, with fine brush, did the painting. When it was completed, he asked the highest sum of his time. He received his pay, and then the geisha turned to her patron, saying, "All this artist wants is money. His paintings are fine, but his mind is dirty. Money's caused it to become muddy. Drawn by such a filthy mind, his work is not fit to exhibit. It's all just about good enough for one of my petticoats." Removing her skirt, she then asked Geshen to do another picture on the back of her petticoat. "How much will you pay?" asked Geshen. "Oh, any amount," answered the girl. Geshen named a fancy price, painted the picture in the manner requested, and went away. It was learned later Gesser had three reasons for desiring money. A ravaging famine once visited his province. The rich would not help the poor, so he had a secret warehouse unknown to anyone which he filled with grain for those emergencies. From his village, the National Shrine Road was in poor condition. He built a better road. His teacher passed away without realising his wish to build a temple, and Gesser wished to complete the temple for him. After Gesser accomplished his 3 wishes, he threw away his brushes and his artist materials and retired to the mountains and never painted again. What's the moral? I don't know. What's the moral with you? Hakuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Hakuna Matata. I mean, so this one, right? He was like painting and asking loads of money for his paintings, but he had good reason behind the scenes. He was a good chap. He was just trying to grind and grift to give a bit of money to the charity. He was just trying to grind and grift to help the people out in his local area. So he was a good chap, really. And in fact, he was milking this geisha and her wealthy patron. And bear in mind, geishas are like, are they? What's a geisha? Entertainers and hostesses. Oh, they're not prostitutes then. Oh, they're not prostitutes. No, not prostitutes. Okay. So they're not prostitutes. Don't get any funny ideas. But she was holding a feast. They were having a feast. You know, they've all got the money. They're having the feast. And she said, his mind is dirty. Money caused it to become muddy. So drawn by a filthy mind, his work is awful. But actually, his mind was driven by, not by greed, but by selfless endeavour. So maybe his mind wasn't dirty. Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe it was a bit of both. Escorts, that's it. Escorts, yeah. They're not officially, you know, she doesn't actually officially have to do any sex work. Not officially. There's another one. I was speaking to a girl and she was doing this. It's a word that they have. They have them at hotels sometimes. Concierge. She was doing concierge, and wealthy people would pay her. They'd arrive in the city, and they'd pay her money. And then she'd like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for dinner? And then like she'd tell them where to go for dinner. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to, like, you know, whatever you want to do? And then she's the concierge. She gets the. They don't have to know where the good places are. She knows, so they pay her. Bit of a good job that. That sounds nice. Anyway, it doesn't sound nice. It sounds like you're an idiot and you don't know what's going on, because the Zen Master was filling his warehouse with grain. I mean, I think the moral of this one is don't judge a book by its cover. But that's not, it's supposed to be a paradox that you can't work out in your brain. It's not coming out that way. Zen Koans. I read this one. This one's called The Last Rap. And this will be our last Zen Koan unless I find another website with some better ones. The Last Rap. Tanjin had studied with Sengai since childhood. When he was 20, he wanted to leave his teacher. Sengai would not permit it. He gave him a rap on his head. And then he did leave. He did leave and he went to ask him for his permission. He gave him another rap on the head. And he said, what's the matter? And he said, like, Sengai's got no business giving permission and then changing his mind. And then, oh no, he gave him permission, right? And then he gave another, he said, I didn't cancel my permission. I just wanted him to give him one last smack on the head. So when he returns, because he'll be enlightened, I won't be able to smack him on the head anymore. So I just wanted to give him one last smack on the head. So the moral of that story is don't listen to your Zen masters. They're just chuffing, banging you on the head for no reason. Zen Buddhist Paradoxes. Let's just have a couple of, let's see if we can find some of these. The idea was, remember, it's about learning to live with ambiguity. It's about learning to live with ambiguity, isn't it? So instead of like, you know, at some point when you think about the paradox enough, it all dissolves into nothingness and you kind of see through it. You see through the veil. You achieve enlightenment. This is all getting a bit heavy here, look. If P is true and only P is false, P is meaningful and only if P is not meaningful, P is intelligible and only if P is not intelligible, P is relevant for some relation and only if P is not relevant, P is acceptable and only if it's not acceptable. It's that sort of thing. Here's some examples. Right, here we go. This is the good bit. Done this one. Show me your original face before you were born. Though I didn't have one, so that's solved. I'm a Zen master. What's the clap of one hand? We've done that. That's like Bart did. It's quiet, but it's audible. And then, or it's just nothing because you need two hands. He was willing to be dirty for a good cause, like a fireman's calendar. It might be that, yeah. It might be that. That's what being Zen is about, then, apparently. Taking your top off for money. But we've got new ones here, look. On producing a picture, Pai Chang asked, don't call it a picture, but tell me what it is. Don't call it a picture, tell me what it is. Right, Zen Master, I see what he's saying. Everything only has, like, it's not a cup, is it? What's a cup? Well, it's only a vessel for carrying fluids in the shape of a cylinder that's been possibly hand hewn from clay, spun on a spinning disc. Probably not this one. This one was probably done by some sort of machine, but then it's been fired in a kiln and glazed and painted, and I fill it with fluids and drink from it. It has a handy handle. Handle? What's a handle? You can't use the word handle. Oh, right, yeah. Well, it's got a thing on the side that you use to grip with. What's the thing? The thing, what do you mean? And like anything else that's a noun, you can't use that either. You could just, they're all just concepts in your brain, aren't they? They're all just concepts in your brain. They're all just boxes to put things in. You have a perfect image of an apple in your brain. There's a perfect image, Plato, platonic perfection, Plato would have said. And it doesn't exist. You know, the apple grows from a seed to a tree. The tree makes apples on its boughs, and as they grow, at some point they might go through the perfect phase of being like the right colour red, and on the, but as soon as you pick it, it starts to fade and rot, and do you know what I mean? Like there is no perfect apple. They're all different shapes. It's all just concepts in your brain. Don't call it a picture, tell me what it is. But what it is defined by language. Language is the noun picture. So we think in language, or we express in language. So if you want me to tell you what it is, mate, Pai Chang, then I'm going to have to use language. You might as well let me say picture, you divhead. So, sorry Pai Chang. I've solved that for you. I'll tell you what it is. It's a jug. It's a jug. You try to draw a capital K out. To see if he was lurking. That's like that little capital K trap. Fireman with no top on. And put him under a big, like, put a fireman with no top on under a big, like on, ooh, a piece of candy. We can do that now because we're allowed to do whatever we want on stream today, aren't we? Ooh, a piece of candy. So I'll show you. Ooh, a piece. I mean, everyone knows this though, don't they? Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. They might, you know.
All right, that's the last of the Reese's Pieces.
Good. Now we wait. Peter? Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 Man, I hope that's James Woods, because if it's me under there again, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Do what we like. So yeah, it turns out, what is a picture, but without saying what it is, it's a jug. Right. Number 4, I am him, and yet he is not me. Well, it's just talking nonsense, aren't you, really? No, that's just words. I am him and yet he is not me. You've got them in the wrong order. That's why it doesn't make sense, because the words don't make sense. They're in the wrong order, that's all. I am him and yet not me. I am him and yet not me. I'm him, I'm me, I'm not me, him, me. Who's on first? Who's on? It's one of them. Number 5, call this a stick and you assert. Call it not a stick and you negate. Now you don't assert nor negate, and what do you call it? Speak and speak. Assertion prevails not, nor does denial. When neither of them is to the point, what would you say? I get what you're trying to say. You're trying to, sit somewhere in the middle, but it is a stick. Like, and if you're saying it's not, then you're negating. But I'm not asserting that it's a stick. It is a stick. Like, that's not my assertion. I'm not trying to give... Like, let me just explain things with a bit of explanation. Like, this is what you won't let us do in Zen Buddhism. You won't let us explain things properly. But let me explain it, and you won't be any misunderstanding. I'm not asserting to you that it is a stick, yeah? I'm not asserting to anyone that it's a stick. It has been asserted to me in the past that it's a stick. So I'm sort of echoing that assertion. But the way our language works is that I'm saying it's a stick because it is a stick, yeah? And it's not me asserting. It's not like you saying, right, can you please assert this one? It's just the way our language works. It sounds assertive the way I say it. Sounds assertive the way I say it. What if I say it might not be a stick, but it really is a stick? Okay, there's more assertive at the end, but it's less assertive that way. It's the way you say it, but it is a stick. I sound really assertive when I say it, but it's just a confusion that you're having with, like, the definition of assertion. Like, if you don't want it to be a stick, that's fine. It is still a stick. And that's not me. I know it is me asserting it because I'm saying it's a stick. That statement is an assertion. But there's no other way to state it without it being an assertion. But forget the assertive aspects of it and it's still a stick. So Zen Master here sorted that out for you. By saying nothing, you're saying something. Now you're starting. Now you're starting. You're a Zen Master too. We can all be Zen Masters, look. Assertion prevails not, nor does denial. We've done that one. A long time ago, a man kept a goose in a bottle. There's your problem. Get it out of that bottle. And it grew larger and larger until it couldn't get out of the bottle. That exactly. I knew that was going to happen. He didn't want to break the bottle, nor did he want to hurt the goose. How would you get the goose out? Well, you just stop feeding it until it gets really skinny and then let it slip out. Or, yeah, it's not vegan. Exactly, it's not vegan. Or you have to grease it up. You put loads of grease in. Or you have to make a decision. What do you want, bottle or goose? You know, you can't eat your cake and still have it. So it's your own fault for leaving it in a fucking bottle. So look, you're giving me parameters here. He wanted to get it out, but he didn't want to hurt the goose. He didn't want to break the bottle, nor did he want to hurt the goose. How'd you get the goose out? I mean, you can't undo time, so if you want to break the bottle without... No, you can't break... I understand you don't want to hurt the goose, but you're going to have to try and break the bottle. That's going to have to happen. Priorities, yeah. You can't... Bottom line is you can't have both, and it's not... The bottle's not doing you any good, is it? The bottle's not doing you any good. You've ruined the bottle by keeping a goose in it, so you might as well forget the bottle. How did you get the goose out? Just give it a gentle tap with a hammer until it breaks, and then the bottle's brought, and the goose comes out. When you start tapping it with the hammer, the goose is going to move away from that side of the bottle. It's going to think, what the fuck? Just tap it with a little gentle tap. Don't smash it. You'll murder the goose. Idiots. Put some water in. Make sure the goose has got a drink. Number 8. Number 7. Don't put goose in bottle. Number 8. Suppose a man climbing up a tree, taking hold of a branch by his teeth, and his whole body is thus suspended. It's a clever trick, isn't it? Suspending his whole body without his arms and legs. That's a clever trick. Clever dick. His hands are not holding anything and his feet are off the ground. Now another man comes along and asks him, in the tree, as to the fundamental principle of Buddhism. So, wait till he comes out the tree if you want an answer, because he's up there with his... He doesn't answer. He doesn't answer. If the man doesn't answer, he's neglecting the questioner. But if he tries to answer, he'll lose his life because he'll fall out. No, well, just... How can he get out of his predicament? I'll tell you how you can get out of your predicament. Grab hold of the tree. Use your arms and legs. And then answer. That's just daft. It's not even a paradox. It's not a predicament. You choose whether you want to answer or not. And if you want to answer, you have to let go of the tree with your mouth. When I pass away, I'll become a buffalo in the cottage. I'll write my name on my front leg. I'm Monk Kai Shan. At that time, if you call me Monk Kai Shan, I'm a buffalo. But if you call me a buffalo, I'm Monk Kai Shan. What should I be called? Monk Kai Shan the buffalo. There you go, solved that for you. Number 10. I see mountain, not as mountain. I see water, not as water. Got your eyes closed, mate. You got your eyes closed. Flash a peace sign, yeah. From up in the tree, Buddhism. Buddhism good. Like, Buddhism good. What is gained and what is not gained? Sorry, what is gained is what is not gained. What you get is what you don't get. Except when it's Genshin Impact and primos and characters. Then what is gained is a crappy bow. So I've sorted that one for you. Number 12. Attached to this, detach from this. Attached to this, detach from this. Attached to this, detach from this. Log on, log off. Very zen. Number 13. Don't speak about being and don't speak about non-being. What are you going to talk about then? Because you've sort of covered everything with that, haven't you? Number 14. When all things are reduced to oneness, where does oneness reduce to? No, zeroness. Zeroness. Noneness. That's why they call them nuns. If you love something, set it free. You see, you're doing it now. You're doing it now. Infinity. You could do infinity. There you go. You can have infinity as well. Noneness is infinity in a way, isn't it? Noneness is allness. So, you see, we're busting this. We're passing Zen 101 with a great big A+. Don't know why it's so hard. The Bodhi tree, B-O-D-H-I, Bodhi, the Bodhi tree, is not a tree. And the bright mirror is not a mirror. There is nothing. Where does the dust attach? Have you been out in the sun, mate? I'll reiterate. Have you been out in the sun, mate? Do you need to sit down? Number 16. I hold a spade empty-handedly. Empty-handedly. I walk on foot and yet I ride on horseback. When I pass over the bridge, the water flows not, but the bridge does. They've had a few too many of the old mushrooms, haven't they? They've been picking things in the woods and eating them without thinking. Number 17. A cow in a chiaku consumes the grass, but the horse in Ichu is satiated. Instead of seeking a good physician, you should cauterize the left arm of a pig. These last two, 16 and 17, they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. There's no rhyme or reason to that. They're not paradoxes. A cow eats grass, a horse is happy, and if you need a doctor, cut off the leg of a pig. Number 18. When I say there's not, this does not necessarily mean a negotiation. When I say there is, it does not signify an affirmation. That's what we were saying earlier. It's just a factor of language. It's like an inescapable factor of language that I can understand in my brain because I'm saying the thing. But when I try and explain it, I can't really get the words out. Turn eastward and look at the western sand. Face the south and the North Star is pointed out there. I don't think it is. I think you need to look north for the North Star. Type 2, paradoxes with paradoxicality in the diagolic region where they are the question. This is getting heavy, look. Paradoxes with paradoxicality in the dialogic relation where either the question or answer is paradoxical. What's the principle of Buddhism? What is the principle of Buddhism? Well, it's not that hard to answer. Chill the fuck out. You're going to come back in another life. Yeah? After you're dead, you get reincarnated. The way you work it out, the way it's worked out, is how good you were in this life, how enlightened you got. What do you mean by enlightened? Well, sit down, I'll tell you all about it, or maybe I won't. But you sit there and think about that. I'll be back later after I've had my tea. And then when I come back later after my tea, you're like, oh, you know what, I've had a good think about that. And I'll say, have you? Tell me, but don't tell me. I'll be back tomorrow after I've had my breakfast, all right? You sit and think about that. You have to come back tomorrow. I'm a Zen master. I'm a proper Zen master. I'm doing it now. I come back tomorrow after you've had that and you thought about that and you go, oh, I tell you what, I did have a good think about that, and I won't even tell you. How about that? And I say, oh, getting it now you are. Or are you? And then I'm off to the bookies. Lend us a tenner. I'm off to the bookies. I'll be back tomorrow after I've had a go on the horses. And then I come back the next day and you'll be like, did you win? I say, well, whoever wins. What is winning? Tell me but don't tell me. I'll be back. Tell me but don't tell me. You keep that there. Tell me but don't tell me. I'll be back tomorrow. You just keep doing that with them. What's the principle of Buddhism? I've solved it. The principle is chill the fuck out. Try and think about nothing. Try and let it all go. Try and just let it all go. Have a good relax. And if you do good enough at that relaxing, then when you come back, you might, if you're really lucky, you might get to come back as something really good, like a dog. Right, number 2, consider the following answers to question in type 1. It cannot be called sandals. Or the answer does not speak but kicks down the picture. This is a good one, look. Number 2, consider the following answers to the question in type 1. Tell me it's a picture without telling me it's a picture. And the answerer doesn't say anything, but they kick the picture. Consider that. That's very Zen. Or you take the stick and you throw it and you say, what is it? Very Zen. What is the fundamental principle of Buddhism? How tall these bamboos are and how short those over there. What's the significance of Bodhidharmas coming to China? There are cypress trees in the front yard. Who is the Buddha? One day made of clay and decorated with gold. The bride rides on a cow and his father holds the bridle. Or your name is Hui Chao. You see the eastern mountains moving over the waves. Or 3 pounds of flax. Or here comes a man with the chest exposed and the legs all naked. What's a drop of water from Chao Brook? It's a drop of water from Chao Brook. We're finally getting somewhere. That number 4, that's got it right. What is a drop of water from Chao Brook? It is a drop of water from Chao Brook. Very Zen. What does Buddha say in remaining silent? When the doves chirp in the trees. I'm just going to skip to the bottom. See if that answers at the bottom. The principle of contextual demonstration could also be called the principle of experiential reconstruction, as it's intended to indicate the fact that after ontological reduction, the reality will be experienced in whatever way it happens to be experienced. The religious import of this principle is that it underlines the naturalistic and indeed Taoistic spirit of creativity and this worldness. So the idea of showing people what's going on around them could also be called the principle of feeling things in your brain, like the way you make up the world in your brain. Showing you what the world is could also be like explaining to you how you perceive the world in your brain, like what your brain's doing. It's making it all up, isn't it? You're receiving, I'm doing it now, you're receiving light waves, everything's waves, light waves, sound waves, and they get into your brain through rods and cones in your eye and a lens, and through vibrations and membranes in your ear, through bones, and your brain gets all this information, and that's all it is. It's sound waves that your brain can read, like computer programming language. It's all just gobbledygook to you, but what you have in your brain is this magic where it comes together and you see it and you hear it, and it's a thing, and it's green and it's blue and it's loud and it's quiet. Your reality's not real. It's all in your head, mate. And that right? Now that we've explained that, that indicates the fact that after ontological reduction, reality will be experienced in whatever way it happens to be experienced. Ontological? Is that scientific? Just going to make sure I'm getting my words right. Scientific. They're relating to metaphysics with the nature of being, showing the relations between the concepts and categories in a subject area or domain. It's a field of study in itself, and we're talking about content and domains, and that's all out of focus. That's rubbish to me. Organization, information, functions, environment, connectors, protocol stacks, logical behavior. It's actually quite a lot like computer programming, this is. It's about, you know, how information and data is organized, and then how ideas are formed, and those ideas inform our ideas of existence. It's about how information and data is processed. It's a whole term, it's a whole thing. Yeah, got it. So so the way we make things up in our brain, the fact that I'm explaining to you that we do that means that after all of that heavy science, reality is experienced in whatever the way it's experienced at the bottom line. You know, it's going on in your head the way you see it. You know, I don't need to explain it in clever words because you can fucking see it. You know it's happening because it's happening. Yeah? I don't need to explain it. The film is on. I'm not going to explain what's going on in the movie. You're watching it right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're saying there. The religious import of that principle is that it underlines the naturalistic and indeed Taoistic spirit of creativity in this worldliness. And what they're saying is, it goes back to this, I mean, they're saying religious because it's Buddhism and all that, but what they're saying is that, like, it's in you. All it comes down to is that fuck the Buddha, fuck the science men and women, and non-gender specific scientists. Forget the science people and their ontological reduction and their clever language and their clever study of how it all, you know, putting it all in boxes. Forget all that, because all of that explanation, all that complexity is ironed out immediately when you realise that you're doing it right now in your own head. It's happening. And your experience of it, anything someone can explain to you, any complex explanation, first you have to understand it and see it and reason it. It has to go through your head, it has to come in your eyes or ears, or you have to taste it. You know, what does that banana taste like? I don't know. If you're telling me what it tastes like, I'll never know. But stuff it in my mouth hole, yum 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 yum, and now I know. And that's very simple. Stuff it in my mouth hole. It's not complex, is it? It's not like knowing about the different, because again, it's another sense, isn't it? So it's about your taste buds and how they receive information and send it to your brain. It's not, you don't have to know that. You can just stuff it in your mouth hole. That's what it's saying. That's what Zen is. It's not getting worried about all the fucking, you know, ins and outs. It's not getting all caught up on all that stuff. It's just like, does that taste nice? Well, why don't we have another scoop of vegan ice cream then? Why don't we have another scoop of gelato? Did you enjoy that? Yeah, okay, I'll have another bath tomorrow then, when I'm smelly. Did you enjoy that? Was that nice? Yes. Alright, well shut up then. A banana tastes different for you, so is it even a banana? Exactly, it might not even be a banana, you might be eating a chuffing... Can't think of many things that look like bananas though. Can't think of many things. Now we're going to have to discuss the nature of what is a banana. What is the perfect time to eat a banana? I don't mean in the morning or the afternoon. I mean, you know, is it ripe enough? But you know what I mean? In order to find all that out, we've all got the human experience to be able to find that out just by doing it. So I think a good principle of Zen that we should come back to, going right the way back now to the gardens. I want a picture of my gardens. And I'll mention photography as well one more time. This is a Koja that I'm looking on, so they've got different pictures, which are actually quite good pictures. You know, knocking yourself up a nice Zen garden. The process of constructing it, combing it every morning, combing all the leaves, trimming all the bushes. You know, why are you doing that? Well, you don't have to ask that question. Just have a go at doing it and you'll see. What does it taste like? It's nice. Don't have to think about much. What's going to happen after you die? I don't... Look, stop giving me heavy questions. The whole point of this is that I don't have the answers. But I come in this garden, and while I'm here, I don't think about that sort of shit, so stop asking me questions, you. After I die, this will still be here, won't it? Someone else can come in the garden. Do you know what I mean? The glycemic index will change as it browns. There you go. That's not very Zen. That's not very Zen. What Zen is to just be like, nom nom nom. Nom nom nom. Oh, that tastes sweeter. What do you mean sweeter? I'm not even going to explain it. You, here, you. Nom nom nom. Nom nom nom. That's what being Zen is. Shh. You know, in shh. Nom nom nom. I'm looking up at myself in the monitor while I do it. Shh. Nom nom nom. That's what Zen is. That's what Zen is. No such thing as sugars. All there is yum yum yum. That is what Zen is, isn't it? That is what Zen is. And that's today's lesson. I think we've done a good Mental Health Monday today. We've done nearly up to 2 hours now. This is good. I'm happy with that. I'm doing the gun show. Just massaging my own shoulder today because we've been out in the sun a little bit. But yeah, took the doggy out for a walk. It's a long story short. I was out in the sun a bit, so I'm not too suntanned. I'm not too suntanned. I'm not too sunburned. Zenny's Snippy's not chuffing. Zenny's yum yum yum. That's a good call, isn't it? That's a good call. Zenny's yum yum yum. And taking it back to photography as well, I wanted to make a quick note about photography because I did talk about cameras and I said I would make this note, which is just the probably just my arms and shoulders just feel a bit warmer today, just a bit warmer. But it's not. I'm not sunburned or anything. Only one arm, just that one. Yeah. When you're walking the dog, she's walking in the sun and I'm in the shade, so it's just the arm. Yeah, photography, someone took this photo. They had a good think about what they were doing when they were taking it. And what they were thinking about was the framing and the colours, the light balance. You know, they're messing with some settings, pressing a button, hearing the click. You don't hear the click anymore. You don't have to anyway. You don't have to. But you know what I mean? They're in the moment, they're doing some Zen gardening of their own in their brain by messing with the camera instead. The camera is the Zen garden and the world is your Zen space. If you've got a camera, I always feel this when I'm doing camera work. My anxieties dissipate because I'm focusing on what's in that little window and constructing an image, like you're framing images in that little window. Focusing on that, not focusing on like that's almost like it almost like puts the world through a filter because it literally puts it into a little window. It's not the whole world anymore. I'm just looking at that little controllable. I'm going down here, I'm doing this with my hands, sorry, I'm not messing about down here. Little controllables, you know, I'm looking through that window when I take the photograph. Moving that around. Zooming in, zooming out, having a think, changing the light balance. It's very Zen. It is very Zen. Got no idea how to find, yeah. But learning about it separately is not the Zen thing. Seeing it and feeling it is. So, there you go. Maybe you don't need to learn. Maybe the best photographers have never been taught. Maybe the best photographers go out and take photos. But actually, no, the best photographers understand about light balances because you're using a camera and you have to, like, if you got the white balance blown out, then it's not going to work. But if you've got automatic settings these days, haven't you? So now you don't have to worry. The camera you shouldn't have to be a technician. You should be an artist. You're right. The camera should be on auto, and you should be just doing the art, which is the feel, and it's not about rules, and it's about nom 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 nom. Ooh, I like that. That's what it's about. Well done, very Zen. Well done, Team Zen. Well done, Team Zen. Maybe the best photographers enjoying it. You know, that's Zen. That's Zen. That's very Zen. The best photographers don't even take the pictures at all. That is Zen. That's very Zen. I went out with the dog the other day and there was another deer, you know, it's running after a deer. And I do think to myself, I should get my camera out and photograph these things. I should be out, you know, I know it's going to happen sometimes on a dog walk. So maybe I should get my camera out and walk around on the dog walk ready with all the settings and the lens and all ready. And I think to myself, no, I'm never going to do that. I'm always going to be the photographer, like you said, that doesn't take the photo at all. I watch the dog run. I don't worry myself with the phone and the photo and oh, did you get it on video? This isn't a job for me. This is walking in the woods. I let the dog run. Yeah, you're right. Super Zen. Super Zen. Not just Zen. Zen out of 10. 10 out of 10, top 10 Zen. Zen out of 10. Picking pretty flowers, yeah. That's it. Zen out of 10. So we've done well today. I'm going to be like, now, my mum's boyfriend is here. We've moved the wardrobe in today, so I'm going to go and see what they're up to, and it's coming up on 10 o'clock in the evening, so I'm going to just enjoy the last little bit of the evening and possibly walk the doggy again. But he has had a couple of walks today, and he's been farting like a good one, and that's very Zen. I'm sure he's enjoying himself, but I don't want to smell his Zen. So if I walk him, I'm guaranteeing that he's going to, like, if I leave it, he'll get through till tomorrow. He's farting, and then tomorrow, I don't know if I want to deal with whatever's going to be coming spraying out of his Zen hole this evening. So yeah. But you enjoy yours. You enjoy your day. You enjoy Zen. We'll be back tomorrow, of course. I'll be intending to stream on YouTube in the daytime, depending on how I feel. Trying to get into the rhythm of that still. But, 2 p.m. GMT on YouTube's. It's... Thanks, Nigel. Nigel noticed my clothes. My clothes are Zen as well, aren't they? Look, it's tigers and it's flowers and it's all part of the look today. All part of the look. Nigel, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. We're just finishing the episode, but you will be able to see it. What we did today is me and Snip solved Zen. It's been going on for a long time, Zen. It's been going on for a long time. The Chinese and the Japanese and the Buddhists, they've all been talking about it for a long time. But we fixed it. We've managed to completely fix it. What Zen is it's eat your banana and shut up. Don't try and tell people what a banana tastes like. Don't try and explain things. Just eat it and now you know. And if you like it, have another one. If you don't, have a grape instead. That's Zen. We fixed it today. We fixed it. That's your favourite t-shirt fashion. Favourite t-shirt. I get them cheap. This one was not from a charity shop. This was bought during the COVID lockdown off the internet, but it was only cheap. Just pretty pattern. Thought that looks nice. I'll have that. It's probably got another connection with the Orient as well. It's probably got one other connection with the Orient, which is that it's probably been made in a Chinese sweatshop. But little hands make little stitches, don't they? If they employ all those children, little hands make little stitches. So it's good needlework. So it's worth the £3.50. That's a joke. It's a joke. I don't think sweatshops are bad or good. I just think sweat is Zen, isn't it? As long as you enjoy what you're doing, that's Zen. I'm going to be saying that now. I bet you will be saying that all week as well now. You'll be saying it all week. You'll be like, oh, well, this or that. It's Zen. In England, quite often we have this option of coffee or tea. Do you want a coffee or do you want a hot drink? Do you want a coffee or a tea? And I'll just say, well, whatever you pour in the cup, I'll drink. And I say, that's not good enough. I'd like to know specifically coffee or tea because I've got to go in there and make the fucking thing. Whatever I pour in the cup, whatever you like. Very Zen. Very Zen these days. Very Zen. And they come back and they give it you. So, oh, is that... Did you... I think I might have preferred whatever the other option was. It doesn't matter which option it was. You do a couple of sips and pull the face and say, I think I might have preferred name the other option. See how Zen they are then. See how Zen they are. Hot water with lemon, that's all you're getting. That's Zen. Nom nom nom. Nom nom nom. Try it all. Have a good time. Except be vegan and nice to the animals as well, because part of being Zen is it's Buddhist and you want to get up to the next stage of Buddhism. You want to graduate from being a human to something better, like a ladybird or a elephant or something. I don't know what... It's not for me to say what the experience of other animals are like, is it? That's very Zen. Don't even have to explain it.
Let's try another one. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, does it make a sound? Absolutely.
That's very Zen. So you're going to watch it as soon as it finishes. Well, I've been trying to sign off now for the last 5 minutes, so I'll do it now, and you can watch it now. So, yeah. Don't be sorry to Nigel, because Nigel knows what time Mental Health Monday is. Nigel knows full well. No, don't worry. It's never been missed. I always consider it to be a live recording session. I always consider you part of the stream, even if you're not here right now. So don't worry. You know, we mentioned your name earlier, didn't we? We mentioned Capital K as well. So we talk about you. You're always in our hearts and in our minds, but not in our minds, because our minds are completely clear because of Zen. So in fact, you're never in my mind, and that's actually good because Zen. So. You be good, my little pukosh, you be good. Or alternatively, don't. It doesn't matter to me, because I'm so Zen.